Welcome to Go DIY Whitewood. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, do it now and don't miss a thing. We are the original raw solid wood furniture manufacturer. Today we are going to show you how we're going to take a 15-year-old dining set from beat up to beautiful. Stay tuned and let's get started.
We are here with our good friend today from General Finishes, Tom Monahan. We've got a big project in store and we are so excited. Take it away, Tom.
Thanks, Carla. It's actually great to be here. And it's just funny because we've actually been in the industry together for probably 25 years or more. And it's kind of come full circle that we're actually going to refinish an old whitewood dining room set. And this is a perfect project for the General Finishes milk paints and wood stains and top coats. And today we're going to do something a little bit different though. We're going to actually spray the chairs. So we're going to show you how to spray the milk paint, super easy. And then we're going to come back and we're going to stain the top of this table after I get it sanded down. And tomorrow will be done by the afternoon, will be done by the end of the day, and I think it'll show you that anybody can do this. You just need the right tools and just a little bit of guidance, and it's a perfect DIY project.
So Tom is going to instruct us on sandpaper. Preparation with this kind of project is key.
Because we have an existing finish on here, I'm going to start right off with like a 60 grit sandpaper, which is fairly coarse, but it's designed to remove finish and paint. So this will cut the finish right off, but because it's so coarse, you don't want to just start with one grit and not finish it. It'll leave a lot of scratches in the wood.
That's what I was going to say, yeah. Like how deeply is it going to get?
Well, 60 grit's pretty aggressive. It's going to remove all of this finish quickly, but then we're going to follow it up with like a 100 grit, which is a little less aggressive, but you can just see the difference of the type of abrasive.
Oh, yeah.
This is much coarser. So we're going to progressively go 60 grit, 100 grit, and finish it off with just a 120 grit, which will remove all of the super deep scratches, but prep the surface well enough to accept a stain.
Okay, so Tom before he came in to work with us on this project, he was telling me about these different sandpapers that we needed. So I go to a local, actually 2 local big box stores, and I can't find them. So he turned me on to an awesome place. There's 4 locations in North Carolina, but they ship all over the country. And it's called Cleansport, and they make their own sandpaper. They're kind of a woodworking store, but they're amazing. That literally, they have every grit of sandpaper that you could possibly imagine, plus other stuff, but you can order from them.
So while Tom's working on the table, I'm going to go ahead and start prepping the chairs. We're not going to take these down to the raw wood since we're using a milk paint. We're just going to get them prepared to accept the milk paint.
Okay, so as you can see, we are knee deep in this project and having a lot of fun. This is where we landed after we took this acetone, 100% acetone, wiped it down, really dampened this, kept it nice and wet, and just wiped this down super duper all over very well, and then came back with this Scotch-Brite pad and just scuffed the surface really well so that our milk paint will have something to grab onto when we get to that step. Tom showed me how to use the gun. So cool, so much fun, way easier than you would realize. And look at this!
I think it turned out great. I want to talk about why we used acetone on these. When I first got here and I kind of looked at the chairs, they were extremely cruddy. They had a lot of, 15, 20 years of living on them, so the arms were sticky. Acetone is extremely fast drying, so you gotta be careful. You should have good proper ventilation with it because it does evaporate quickly and you can smell the fumes. But what's nice about it is it gives you just an absolutely clean, purged surface. So this is the first chair that we painted maybe about half hour, 40 minutes ago. It's already dry to touch, but we're gonna let this sit for, probably 2 hours. It's a little cool today. And this is okay, though. This gives us plenty of time. We've got 6 chairs to do and a table to do, so by the end of the day, our goal is to get everything painted, and I'm going to say 2 coats of paint. We'll let them dry overnight and come back tomorrow, and then we'll move on to our next step of the process, which is staining that tabletop and spraying the high-performance top coat on everything and be done. Then you're gonna buy me dinner. All right? Well, let's just talk for a minute about what type of sprayer we're using. And there's a lot of them on the market. This is actually the HomeRight Finish Super Max. It comes with 3 different size fluid tips, so it allows you to be able to spray stains or clears or paints. But what's nice about this is you can actually detail it and spray in, you know, you're only putting paint where you want it instead of spraying paint. Yeah, and we're gonna work inside this box, which is all really the room you need for spraying chairs, and it contains all of your paint and overspray into a small area, which is, you could easily do this in your garage. Think of this as like an extension of your hand. So wherever my hand is going to go is where the paint's going to go. So don't think about painting the whole chair at once. We're going to start at point A and work our way around and finish at point B. And that's where my rule is, I'm only going to spray what I can see. So I don't worry about the back, I don't worry about the bottom. I only want to point the gun and paint the surfaces that I can see. Okay. That way you become methodical about how you approach your projects.
You'll note that we're working in somewhat of a confined area. We ask that you always remember to wear a mask. Though these are water-based products we're working with, it's important to protect yourself from airborne particles that are released into the air through sanding as well as spraying.
So we are still at it, and we just wanted to kind of do a recap in regard to where we are. So we have all 6 chairs painted with 1 coat. Now we're going to move on to doing the base of the table, but I cannot believe how much paint we have not used. We've only used about 2 quarts of paint for the 6 chairs, and we've got a ton of paint left over, so let's get started. Okay, so we've got our chairs painted, we painted the base, and now we're going to move on to doing a large surface staining job. And Tom is going to tell us the best way of going about it, and he's going to tell us about some products to make this the best it can be.
So we chose the water-based wood stain. It's called Graystone color. This will actually make this look like a brand new dining room set with this fresh tabletop. So we've got it sanded down. We finished sanded it to 120. It's nice and smooth. We're just going to use a water-based wood stain, but I'm going to apply it with a pad applicator. I have some foam brushes too that we can use for application. And the goal here is to just get the stain on evenly and then wipe it off quickly. Things here. I want to talk about Extender is a product that we sell that works with all of our water-based products. And the reason we would use Extender is just to open up the dry time so that we have more time to work with the product. See, look at how quick and even I'm covering this surface here.
So we are done with painting our chairs. We've got our coat of finish on the tabletop. We've got the milk paint on the bottom. And now we are ready to move on to step Two?
Yep, this is the finishing process.
Okay, so we're going to show you all the goodies that we've been using and kind of the direction that we're going.
So we've got everything, yesterday, everything was prepped and sanded, and we got 2 coats of melt paint on all the chairs and let them dry overnight. I think it's a good thing to just let your paint dry itself out before you get too ready to put top coat on. We're also going to talk about what we're using now for sanding between coats. Now that we're going to switch into the finishing process, we're going to use the 220 flexible sanding pads. Again, a Cling Sport product. This is the only pad that I've actually been selling for the last 25 years.
Wow.
It works for everything we need to do today. So what's nice about it, I think we'll be able to do this entire project with about 3 of these pads. And sand between coats, get everything nice and smooth and ready to go. We'll be done by this afternoon with all of this.
Yes.
It's always important to know that when you're sanding, you want to go with the grain of the wood, never against it.
We got our first coat of top coat on the table and on the chairs. And now we're going to move on to our next step, which is to, with this 220 sandpaper, we're going to give everything just a nice scruff. We're not going to like get really nitty gritty with it. Make sure it feels nice and smooth and consistent.
We'll be done by this afternoon. This is the downhill side of the project. So.
And this Graystone finish may be my new favorite. It is gorgeous. It has a lot of depth to it. So we're gonna go finish up. So we have had such a great 2 days with this guy. I've learned so much. One thing Tom asked me about midway through was what have I learned? Pay attention to the way your sprayer is spraying before you actually put it onto a piece. Start spraying before you actually get onto the furniture so you're not just shooting out at one big spot. I learned a ton about different sandpapers and how having the right materials makes for a seamless job. I learned that prep is actually more important than finishing and staining and painting and all that. If you don't prep well and you don't clean the furniture well, especially with 15-year-old furniture, then you're not going to have a beautiful product at the end. We have finished and we're amazed and excited to tell you how much time, the materials, and the kind of money doing a project like this can save you.
Exactly. We just had to sit down for a minute and actually calculate how much product and material that we went through. And it's actually quite simplistic, but we only used about 3 or 4 pieces of sandpaper total to sand the top of this table. And then I actually sent down, without knowing, I sent a gallon of paint and a gallon of the high-performance top coat. And we ended up using about half of a gallon of each product. Price-wise, you're looking at about $100 total in materials to do this full dining room set. And if you really want to put that to numbers, that captain's chair today would probably retail for anywhere from $350 to $500 per chair.
Oh, yeah.
So if you could actually spend the money to get your materials, you're going to get your investment back immediately. This is, I think, I'm excited about how well this turned out, because when I first walked in the door yesterday, my heart stopped a little bit, but then I'm thinking, okay, we can get this done, not a problem. I'm just excited as how well everything turned out. I think it worked great.
Yeah, and a couple other things super important to talk about is we literally kind of mapped out a space that would be the size of your garage.
Just remember, everything's fresh, it's new, it's like a newborn baby. Treat it with kid gloves for the first few days, first few weeks. You know, wipe up any spills that you get on there. But this set's ready for another generation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Well, stay tuned for our last shots of this all decorized and beautified lab.
Look how beautiful this turned out. It literally looks like brand new. This set was in our product lineup 15 years ago and shows why solid real wood matters, because it can be made over again and again to look beautiful and brand new. We use a lot of different products for this project. See below for a full list of everything we use to make this set like brand new.